Traditional academic pedagogy is often structured around the pursuit of a specific target, training students to follow established paths to previously verified results. This model operates as a closed equation: A plus B leads to C. The goal is categorizing this predefined result within a disciplinary silo. Resources are then diverted to defend that outcome, creating a cycle that reinforces boundaries rather than looking beyond them. However, many scientific breakthroughs occur when a researcher moves away from this linear path. These moments of discovery require a process of directed divergence, where multiple competing variants are explored before a conclusion is reached. Relying on linear instruction can lead to the formation of isolated silos, where the focus is on the retention of historical facts rather than the development of a methodology for exploring the unknown. Researcher Ido Margolin suggests a different approach, a unified language of inquiry, or ULI. This framework replaces the static result with an expansion. Here, A plus B leads to a set of possibilities, C, D, and E, which continues until it reaches a specific saturation point, S, triggering a final empirical test, X. This specific process is called directed divergence. It requires the researcher to multiply the representations of a given problem, exploring the gray area of a subject until a hard limit forces a resolution. ULI removes the need for domain-specific jargon. By focusing on the grammar of the inquiry itself, it provides a consistent set of rules that apply whether the subject is a watershed or a galaxy. This approach treats discovery as a repeatable process, a syntax that can be applied to any domain to navigate from an initial intent to a verifiable result. We can see this in practice by building a ULI canvas. We start with an intent, for example, forecasting an urban health outbreak based on city-level data. Defining the intent is the anchor, but to avoid simply repeating what we already know, we have to introduce a controlled way to explore new patterns. This is the role of the first operator, R, or directed randomness. Operator R requires a pre-declared noise budget of 10 to 30%. This means the researcher deliberately perturbs parameters, such as the timing of data collection or the ordering of inputs, to ensure the search isn't trapped by existing assumptions. This logic applies to large language models as well. Since these models rely on predicting the next token in a sequence, a degree of randomness is inherent in how they navigate probability. ULI reframes this randomness as a tool for seeding different variants of an idea. By declaring a noise budget at the start, the researcher creates a structured way to step away from their priors, allowing for a broader exploration of the search space. Once the noise is introduced, we apply the second operator, delta, or intended deviations. Delta enforces the use of iso-intent variants. These are multiple, parallel representations of the same problem. You aren't changing the goal, you are changing how you look at it. In our outbreak forecast, delta prevents relying on one dataset. Instead, we run parallel tracks: social media signals, mobile flow, and clinic reports.
Testing these parallel tracks simultaneously helps identify where patterns overlap and where a single representation might be leading to a dead end. Operator delta ensures the inquiry is mapped from multiple, non-overlapping angles, preventing the researcher from becoming anchored to a single perspective. This divergence cannot continue indefinitely. We need a way to determine when adding more noise or more variance no longer provides new insights. This is operator S, saturation, the framework's mathematical governor. Saturation hits when three metrics are met. First, information gain drops below 5%. Simultaneously, entropy plateaus, and Kendall-Tau rank stability remains above 0.9. When all three hold, saturation is reached. This point of saturation is the trigger for reset-gated intelligence, or RGI. RGI uses these saturation metrics to decide when it's time for a model or a researcher to stop branching out, and instead consolidate what they've found. By using these objective cues, saturation replaces the subjective decision of when to stop with a measurable indicator that a phase change is required. Once the conditions for saturation are met, the exploration phase ends and the framework demands a resolution. This leads to the final operator, X, the exit thread. An exit thread is a pre-registered, falsifiable criterion.
It is a specific test passed to resolve the inquiry and move beyond the loop. For our outbreak model, the exit thread requires 85% validation accuracy across 2 city districts. It's a clear pass-or-fail gate. If the model fails the test, the process loops back. The researcher returns to operators R and delta to refine the noise budget and develop more robust variants. The exit thread ensures that discovery is an empirical outcome of well-set criteria, rather than a matter of subjective interpretation. Because ULI is built on these shared logic gates and metrics, the same grammar can be applied to vastly different fields. Mapping the polarization of cosmic dust in astronomy seems entirely separate from training an AI model to produce multimodal outputs. But when we look at the structural level, both projects utilize the exact same R-delta-SX architecture to reach their conclusions. Both researchers track noise budgets, utilize parallel representations, and monitor the same phase change plateaus to determine when they have reached saturation. The perceived distance between these disciplines is often a result of the different vocabularies they use, rather than a difference in how discovery actually functions. This shift suggests a new way to think about expertise. In this framework, an expert is not just someone who possesses a silo of historical facts. Marcolin describes the updated role as the exit architect. The primary skill of an exit architect is the ability to construct reproducible, rigorous tests that resolve ambiguity in completely unfamiliar conceptual spaces. A unified language of inquiry provides a way to move beyond the boundaries of traditional disciplines. It offers a consistent methodology for navigating the unknown,